See, the first thing which I told you is you need to download the Anaconda 3.6 version or 3.8 version, which is Windows based. You have Linux based, you have Mac OS based, but we want Windows OS based, right? Because we are working under Windows. So install it. Automatically, I think it will go to C drive. Make sure your dataset file has to be the CSV file, and at the same time the dataset has to be in the location where you have saved your program with the extension .py. So these are the things which I have mentioned right now. Fine. So let me share you the screen. Once your you have installed your Anaconda 3.6, immediately you have to do it today, because continuously I'll be doing some 3 programs the next 2 sessions, the next 2 classes. So please install it and then work out with Findus algorithm today itself. Once you have installed it, you have to go to your I think you have to wait for some time till the launcher screen opens. So you need to wait. So once the launcher screen opened, you can launch Spider or the Jupyter, any one which is comfortable to you, Spider or Jupyter. Fine. Now with this, I'll move further. One second. So let me talk about how to go with dataset first. Yes. So make sure you have to be in this path for storing your dataset within the local disk C and users, or in your own specific folder where actually your this thing has been installed, or you can see that I have highlighted .spider-py3 or in this location. So prefer any of the location. Here I have stored my data set with the name Enjoy Sport. I'll try to open this. Can you able to see an Excel sheet?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I think I have to share this also. Okay. So this Excel sheet has the path, the same path which I told you where your Anaconda got installed. So this is your actual data set, right? You have to type like this in Excel sheet, because the data set is very small. You can type sky, air temperature, humidity, wind, water, forecast, enjoy sport. These are my 4 samples. Out of that, 3 were positively classified. 1 is negatively classified. I have mentioned its values ones and zeros. Okay, after you type this in Excel sheet, what I have to do is I have to go to file. I have to save as it. Which location I have to save? Can you able to see the save as screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, the same Enjoy Sport is there, but make sure that location should be same. Under the C users, where my Anaconda has been installed, and then comma separated values. There are 2 like that, but prefer not Macintosh, but prefer comma delimited, because all the Excel sheet, each cell, I cannot access the cell values, right? I can access the comma separated values format for my data. For my program can be accessible to only your comma separated values, not the tuples, where your each cell data is a tuple, but tuples are not mutable, so that I can access only the strings. You know that Python, right? So I have to convert them into array of values. Fine. So choose this, try to save. While saving, I think it already exists in my system. While saving, I think you will get lot of pop-ups like that. Generally, always press S. Then I just wanted to close it. If I try to close this also, I will get such kind of pop-ups. Try to save all the time. Save and then press only yes. Don't worry, I think it will come a lot of times. So any issues with dataset right now?
No, ma'am.
Okay, always you have to store your data set as an Excel file. Initially, you start doing it, but later, while you are saving it, save as to the respective directory or the folder, a comma separated value file extension. Fine. Now, I'll just try to share the Spider platform, how it appears to you. Once you install your Anaconda 3.6, try to launch your you have to wait for some time so that in your desktop a green colored dragon symbol will appear, so where you can able to launch your Spider. Fine, 1 second, I'll just show you the execution things and all in my next. I think you can see the Spider, right? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So here I have, while I'm typing this, this is the screen I get. So in this editor, if I start typing my code, I can go to File, Save, because it's already saved. Since I have opened it, I can save as it with .py extension to the respective path. Do that. And then indentation is very, very important in Spider, because here in Python, we never use any curly braces. Only the indentation plays a lot. So, what is your CSV file name? That is also very, very important. The file name, it's a case sensitive. So, you have to, Enjoy Sport is the file name to you, which is of the CSV extension. So, in Python, we always know that it will start with a definition of the functions. Later, I will try to read it. These are the few modules I have to import: CSV module and then random module. Without random module also it works, so no need to worry about it. Okay, just look at this. What is this actually? I'll just directly go for function definition. So this is your function definition, find as definition, right? So now, what does it says? I think you all are familiar with find as algorithm. I always have to compare two arrays. One is your data array, nothing but your data set. One more is the hypothetical array, hypothesis. Every time my hypothesis is going to change when I compare my hypothetical value with the data set value. Fine. Before, I have to convert that into mutable one, because whatever you see in your, what do you say, in Excel file, it is an unmutable thing. So before that, I am going to read it. Within the find as function, you could see that there is a read data, right? I'm going to read the data from the file. So read data is a method which will access as a parameter. What is the parameter? It is file name. Which file name you are reading? You are reading the CSV file name. Means you're going to read the complete CSV file, because comma separated values are there. Every row, and then I'm just assigning that to data array argument. So data array variable. I don't need to declare the variables here. Based on the type of the variable, it automatically changes. Here the type is array data, because it is going to be CSV file is an array type, so that the data array is a variable which belongs to the string. So you could see that here, once a read data function is called, I have written the code for read data. So the respective file is going to be opened in the read mode as a CSV file. What I'm doing there is, I'm calling the CSV reader. There every value is separated with commas, right? Delimiter also I have to mention. I'm assigning that to the data reader. Then I had a train data. Initially, the train data is nothing. What I'm trying to do this is from the CSV file, I am reading each and every data. I am just converting that into array. That is what an empty array has been created initially. That is called a train data array. But data reader is a CSV data. Train data is an array here. So for every row in my data reader, what is data reader? Comma separated values, right? So I'm appending every row to the train data. Now, each and every row values are accessible in train data. Every row of my data set is going to be accessible because I have to compare each and every row with my hypothesis. So I have to somewhat make the things mutable, accessible. I am returning the training data out of this method. What is method? Read data method. What happens in read data method is I am just converting my CSV file values into mutable one by providing them to the train data. Each row of my data reader is going to be provided to train data where these are your mutable values. It's an array of each row. Array values can be accessible with its index, right? Okay. So if you have any doubts in between, interrupt me. Right now, what I did is I have converted my complete data set into mutable one. Those are available in your data array. Fine. Every row can be sent one by one. At the same time, I have to initialize my hypothesis also as an array of values. You see, I have 6 values in my data set. I have 6 hypothetical values. Since we are in finders, I have to start from the most specific hypothesis that is called all 5s. Now, I have to fix the boundaries of running the algorithm from where to where the algorithm has to work on the data. For that, I am just taking, because it will end up with infinite loop, right? If it kept on working, so I have to make it finite. So I am just taking the length of my data array. What is your length of data array? It depends on the number of rows. How many rows are there? Fine. That is called rows. Columns are 7, including your target concept. How many columns are there? Including your target concept, there are 7 columns. Means target concept means the last classification data, right? Okay. So now I know what is my 2 things I have to compare. What are they? One is H, one more is data array values. Fine. Data array contains all the 4 rows in my data set, but I want one at a time. For that, I have taken t as the variable here. So for every value, for x in range of 1 comma rows, what does it mean? It means from the first value. So here x will act as what? Please tell me here what x will act as. So I am going to read the values from each row of my data set. From each row of my data set, the complete row is named as T. Complete row, one at a time. Based on the what is there already in rows, your total length of your table. Total length of your data set is there in number of rows. So from the first row to the last row, what does it mean 1? Why I am not taking the range from 0? Because the 0th row are nothing but your attribute names. Do I need to anything work with what is sky, what is air temperature, what is sunny, what is your target concept? Because in my data set, the 0th row represents your attribute names. So I don't want to take the attribute names. I just want to take only attribute values. So I don't consider the 0th row. I will consider from the row 1 till the number of rows, till the length of the data set. because rows are already I have taken into consideration. These are nothing but the length of my data set data array. So now every row I will consider, that is nothing but your T, right? Every row, what is x is equal to 1? First row. What is x is equal to 2? Second row. Like that, every time I will try to take that and I will try to print it. You could see that, print it. So I'll just run this, have a look. So I have printed every row and then the respective change in the hypothesis. Initially, uh, first line, all the first lines, see this is the first line. So this is your data set values. The second line is the change in the hypothesis. Then second data set, change in the hypothesis. Third data set, change in the hypothesis. Fourth, so final value, because only 3 data sets are there with 3 rows are positive rows. It will not consider negative, right? How do you determine? Okay, you have renamed every row as T. Every row is T. Now onwards, H is hypothesis, T is the dataset value, dataset instance, complete row. So I have printed T means I have printed each and every row. Along with that, its hypothesis I have to print. This is, I have printed the hypothesis. Before printing the hypothesis, what and all the rules and regulations of Finder's algorithm? I have to consider only the positive data set, right? So which will tell you about the positive data set. So I have taken the number of last column, right? According to the array, the last column index is what? Here I have taken, array starts from 0. I have totally 7 columns. The last column, you see that, the last column, the ones and zeros, probably the 7th column, but in my array, it starts from 0. So it is number of columns minus 1. 6th one. According to the index, it is the index 6 if it starts from 0. So that's why I have initialized if T of columns minus 1 equal to 1. What does it mean? T represents my data set array. My data set, each row is represented by T. In a row, if the last column minus 1 means what? Actually the last column, because the index starts from 0, right? If the last column value is equal to 1 means, what does it mean? Means it is a positive data. If it is a positive data, then what I have to do? Here, the x-axis is nothing but your each row. Y-axis is nothing but the values in the respective row. Two-dimensionally I am taking. X-axis represents each row of data set. Y-axis represents in a particular row what and all the column values. So now I have to compare my column values, means I have to compare T of Y with H of Y. What is initial H of Y? All are 5s. What is initial T of Y? Since I cannot share 2 screens at a time, please look at the data set here in the right hand side. Sunny, warm, normal, strong, warm, same, which is a positive sample. When I compare this with my initial hypothesis called all 5s, I will get, what do I get? I will get the hypothesis with these values. So before that, let us see if both the values are same, if respective H of Y and T of Y, both the values of a particular attribute is same, I don't want to worry about it. Please do nothing. That is the algorithm, right? I just simply pass that iteration. If the values are same, I just don't want to disturb the values, just take it as it is. Suppose if the values are not same and your hypothesis value is 5, that is the case right now. Sunny and 5 are not same and your hypothesis value is 5. What I have to take that time is I have to take only the dataset value called T, so that if both are not same and my hypothesis value is 5, what I have to do? I have to take my dataset value only as the hypothesis value. One more case will come. Both the values are not same. Something, one is sunny, one more is rainy. That time what happens? Your hypothesis is not 5. What happens? I have to take a question mark because inconsistency. Then print the hypothesis. Then just being in the finders only, once all your rows of your data set is over, just come print the maximal specific set is, I think you have to display your hypothesis with angular brackets. For that purpose, I have given angular brackets. Printing the hypothesis, and then at the end, print with close the angular bracket. Actually, your execution starts from here, finders. The moment if it sees the finders function call, it will go for the definition. And we know that before we call for any function, we have to define it. That's why I have defined it, so that before I call for the read data function method, I have defined it. So any doubts in this?
No, ma'am.
Have you understood at least?
Yes, ma'am. It's same as the as we do it manually. It's almost
Yes.
same.
Only this part is very, very important. The finders part. But of course, for execution, all these things has to work. So this is the concept.